Whether it's interviews, whether it's big calls, whether it's big conversations, big opportunities, big moments, there's one thing that's always remained the same, is that I know I'm built for this. All right, y'all. So today is the day. We are hopping in the car to drive out to Kelowna, Canada, in order to go do this podcast tomorrow with Dan Martell. Quick backstory. I run a podcast, Seeds of Success. Around episode 8, I think I had 8 episodes out, Dan asked what podcasts he could come on. So I reached out. I was a little nervous at the time to reach out, and I did it anyways. I was hoping he would kind of say no because I did not feel prepared. I did not feel up for it, but I did it anyways. And he said, get to 100 and I'll come on the show. Sure enough, here we are at 102 episodes, and I'm in the car driving to Dan Martell's studio in Kelowna, Canada, just about 6.5 hours away from where I'm sitting. It's crazy to think what happens when we take consistent action that is imperfect with a goal of where we're trying to get. Just keep following those callings, keep following your intuitions, and day at a time, 1 week at a time, doing things when we don't want to do them, but also having a lot of fun and being uncomfortable and taking action when we don't really know what the outcomes are really going to be. So good things are going to happen, as Pete Carroll would say. Something good is just about to happen. Here we go. All right, checking in here. Figure we're sitting in some traffic, so let's share some lessons that I've learned in over 100 episodes of running a podcast. Number one is you got to open the box. What I mean by that is you got to open the box of your USB microphone. We can buy all the things. We can get as prepared as we want. We can get the setup that we think we need, but nothing happens until we open the box and use it. And I say that because that was a mistake that I made. I spent far too long paralyzed by overanalyzing everything that I was researching. The perfect mic, the perfect laptop, the perfect software, the perfect this, that, the perfect script, whatever it was. And then I spent so much time researching these microphones until one day I just said, dude, just freaking buy, just get one. Just click purchase, right? So I did. Then it arrived and it sat on my desk for 6 weeks. It became part of my shelfware is what happened. It started collecting dust. So wipe the dust off, open the box, use the tool, right? It's not going to do the work for you. You are the only person that can do the work. One day I came in and I looked at it and something told me to just open the box. Like that was my only objective for the day. Take a form of action towards doing the podcast. And in that moment of time, it was opening the box. And so that's what we did. We opened the box and then I plugged it in and I clicked a couple buttons to actually use the thing. I recorded a little snippet and then I wrote a quick bullet point introduction, which was another whole analysis, paralysis by analysis, right? What am I going to say? How am I going to say it? It needs to be perfect. It doesn't. It does not. Steal this one from Dan Martell, but all you need to do is just know how you're going to start it, know how you're going to end it, and have a couple bullet points in between. So for me, how I've taken that is I know my first sentence, I know a couple bullet points, and then I know how I'm going to wrap it up. Doesn't have to be perfect. I just get on there and say what's on my heart, say what's on my mind. If you have an idea of what you want to say, and you know how you want to start, and you know how you want to finish, that's the perfect content sandwich right there. So open the box and don't overthink it. Just hit record and go. All right, so here's another thing on my mind with what has helped me be successful in getting to 100 plus podcast episodes. Besides starting, the next thing that comes to my mind is acting on inspiration. And what I mean by that is when you have a thought or an idea and the action is simple, then we want to take immediate action, right? So these simple actions can be high leverage points, right? Let me give you an example. I had 3 episodes put out and then I went on a 1.5 year hiatus of not doing the podcast. And then I was listening to a podcast one day, and I heard something in it that inspired me to go and sign up for a marathon. So I did. And then what I did from there is, you know what? Why don't I ask this guy to come on my podcast? And therefore, that would initiate a conversation. It would make me accountable to somebody else, right? Who is also then going to come on the podcast. So therefore, I would have to show up and execute. And all it would take would be a simple message on Instagram where I sent a DM, a direct message to this individual. And it took me about 30 seconds. And then I had a response back in an hour with a podcast interview scheduled for the next week. So I went from no podcast episode for a year and a half to then a podcast scheduled and an individual connected with in a matter of 30 seconds. I will tell you, at the time that I had that idea, I was vacuuming the house. And so it was instrumental that I stopped vacuuming, right? Very low value task. And I send a direct message, basically a cold outreach to, if we want to call it a prospect, right? To come on the podcast and pitch them my idea to come on the podcast. And sure enough, they said yes, we connected. And that very message then sprouted another 98 episodes since then. From that day forward, I have put out one podcast a week, minus 1 week that I missed. And then I did two podcast episodes that week, one to make up for the last week. So you never know what acting on inspiration can lead to. Made it to our Airbnb. Now I'm going to bed. Founders hike in the morning. Let's go. All right, good morning. It's officially 5:50. About to jump out the door and go head over to whatever mountain we're gonna go climb. It's officially game day, and I'm freaking stoked. Let's go. It is 6:02 a.m., Tuesday the 14th of May, and it is game day. We are off to Knox Mountain to go and get this founders hike in. Something that I've always thought about, something I've always dreamed about, something I always knew I would eventually do. I just didn't know when, how, why, the date, the way that it would happen. I never imagined that this is how it would happen. But sometimes we just got to put it out there. You just got to put it out there and not think about the how. Wow. Here we go. This place is freaking gorgeous. We're at the base of Knox Mountain, and we are about 15 minutes away from going to cruise up, go meet the crew at the base of it, and I'm freaking stoked. Motto for the day is just be. Just living in the present, enjoying, not too much thinking, just really embracing each moment for what it is. Just did the founders hike with Dan Martell, and probably about like 30 people that showed up. It was super cool. Engaged and connected with a couple really strong individuals. Just freaking loved it. I'm going about today, and this experience was just being like this. Hey, buddy. Like that. Look at that. Just out on a run trying to use the feet to go explore, man. No clue where we're going, but y'all know the drill. You just start moving, see where things take you. Look how dope this is. You never know where life is going to take you, but just keep doing the things that you resist. Keep doing the things that you know you want to do, but are still fearful of in the moment. Those goals, those dreams, when they're in front of you, they're actually scary. But keep marching through. Let's go. Good work. Thank you. How amazing is this? I walk into my Airbnb and this is on the ground and it says, "Thank you, Colin." There's some good people in this world. That's amazing. All right, here we are at OEB. I got some chia seed pudding. I just didn't want to feel heavy going into this interview, so I just wanted to make sure that we were making a smart choice here. It's the first food of the day, and this looks freaking bomb. Let's go. All right, y'all. Here we are. About 45 minutes before we go live with Dan Martell. I'm just out for a walk. Key to success for me that I think can be applied to you is when you need to think and just get ready, get outside, move, get fresh air, the basics. So anyways, here we are just enjoying this gorgeous day, really just enjoying being in this moment. It's crazy to think about where you start and where you are, and also pretty interesting to think about not knowing where it's going. I kicked off of my own podcast 2020 December of it's called the Seeds of Success podcast. It's like personal development, sales, business, entrepreneurship, but like holistic life stuff. Yeah. Health, fitness, endurance, like just everything to just help individuals become the best version of themselves. Holy shit, we are officially done with the podcast. We've actually done it. I'm walking out of there feeling all sorts of ways. Excited, questioning. Truthfully, I felt a little outmatched in the conversation, but that's a really good thing. If you look at the stats or on a sheet of paper, I am very outmatched. That being said, I feel like I was just elevated to another level, and this is only the start of something great. And in order to actually continue moving the needle on massive conversations like this, you got to keep doing the reps and you got to keep doing the thing. Holy shit, I also feel very relieved. I will say that I feel very relieved. It's done. Just sit in that room and connect with Dan. It was like literally a dream come true is what it honestly feels like. Did I feel uncomfortable at times? Absolutely. Did I feel super stiff in the seat, not really knowing how to move, did I feel frozen at times? For sure, you bet. Did I feel absolutely unmatched at a couple parts of the conversations? No doubt. Was it done and executed, and did we just learn and grow throughout the entire process? 100%. And that was an amazing experience. It was, feels like years in the making, to be honest. That's actually what it is. Honestly, feels like just the beginning. The last thing that Dan left us with is go bigger. Whatever that means, go bigger. So let's go. All right, y'all, we are back in the evergreen state of Washington, and it was a quick 24-hour trip to get in, knock out the podcast, meet Dan, get out, back to work tomorrow. And I just want to say thank you, everybody, for your support, the questions, the comments, the chatter, the texts, the calls. I just appreciate you all. Let's go make it a great rest of your day. Great day tomorrow, one day at a time. Just keep it rolling.